So I realized that I've made tons of videos on how to build this system, but I haven't really told you why I chose the 6000 XP and why I think you should, even in 2025. You can hear these things ramping up behind me, so let's jump into it and get started. I'm Eric with East Texas Homestead. If you're new to this channel, check it out. I've got tons of videos on solar builds, on homesteading stuff, you name it. So why do I think the 6000 XP is still incredible? So let's talk about the specs and what they actually mean for you. I'm going to go through this pretty quick, but I want to give you a high level view of this incredible machine back here. So the 6000 XP offers a 6000 watt continuous output, which means you can run high loads, anything from, washers and dryers to, your hot water heaters and even an electric oven. These things are really powerful. And not only are they capable of putting out 6,000 watts, but they do it in split phase. So you get the 240 volts. So that's a huge selling point. Many of the inverters on the market only do 120 volts, but just one of these units will do 240, and you don't have to have two of them to get that. So that's a great selling point. But it doesn't even stop there on the power output. They also have a 12,000 watt surge. So if you've got these super high draw appliances like air conditioners, or in my case, I've got this massive well pump that will absolutely push one of these to its limits. And I can't run that pump on any of my generators because it's just too big. One of these three units, without the other two involved, can easily handle that pump, which is just mind-boggling. So with a 12,000 watt surge for, I think it's 3.5 seconds, it's enough to get large appliances to be kickstarted and take off. So that's that. The next thing is each of these inverters have two MPPT charge controllers built into them, and that allows you to take 8,000 watts of power from the sun and go straight into your batteries or go straight into your home, whichever you need to do. These things are calming down a little bit. We must have some loads in the house that are dropping. And what is an MPPT? Let's talk about that for just a second. MPPT is going to be the ability to capture that energy that's coming in at different voltages from the sun and turns it into something that your inverters and your batteries can use without having to, that they can use. The next thing I want to talk about is these things are off-grid inverters as opposed to a hybrid inverter. Now, what's the difference there? Essentially, you cannot sell back to the grid. Okay, it is a one-way street from the grid. However, being off-grid, you notice I'm still talking about the grid, and that's because they can be grid connected, which is the way I have this right here. So right over here is my grid panel, and it feeds the inverters, and then the inverters put the power back out into this other panel, which is my load panel that goes to my house. So if you need to charge from the grid, you can charge from the grid. If you don't have enough battery power, or for some reason you've maxed out your inverters, it can seamlessly switch over to pull from the grid and, keep you going if that's what you need. That's the way I've got it set up. So while they are off-grid units, don't let that scare you and make you think that you have to go off and be, Little House on the Prairie or do something like that and end up being isolated from utilities. That's not the way it works. But if you're wanting to try to sell back to the grid, these inverters aren't for you. You're probably going to want to look at a FlexBoss 18 or a 18K PV or something along those lines. You could do a 12K PV, whatever it is. EG4 has tons of units that are grid capable of selling back to the grid. The next thing I want to talk about is that these have closed loop communication with the batteries. You see, I've got batteries below me. Each one of these inverters is paired up with its own battery. They all share the batteries, and they have closed loop communications, which essentially means that the inverters talk to the computer built into the batteries, and the computer built in the batteries talks to the inverters, and it allows for them to charge efficiently, charge completely, and then also just everything stays in sync. The batteries balance each other out so that you don't end up with one of the batteries super low and the other batteries, still fully charged and shutting down, all that stuff. The active balancing between all the batteries and between the inverters, everything plays nice. Is it necessary? No. But is it a nice to have? Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. So being able to communicate with your batteries is a big thing. And I really appreciate that on the 6000 XP and the wall mount batteries. And what I used to have is the server rack batteries, which are now going to be right over there. I've gone through multiple iterations of this build and I've documented the entire thing. If you're interested in that, I've got hours and hours of every single nut, every single bolt, every connection, exactly how to set this thing up so that you can go into building an off-grid system like this and feel comfortable and feel like you know what you're doing. On top of that, every Thursday night at 8 Eastern Time and 7 Central, myself, Rodney Hunt, and Adam DeLay, we go through and we take questions from you guys. We have this great community where we all go in and we hang out and we talk about DIY solar. So if you ever have any questions about this setup or anything else related, we do our best to answer. And then if we don't know, oftentimes someone in the live chat knows and we can get these things figured out. So it's a great time, and I encourage you to join us. So another thing that makes the 6000 XP incredible is that you can parallel 16 of these things, which means not only can you get the 6,000 watts from one of them, but you can get that multiplied by 16, which is 96,000. 96,000 watts. I definitely did not just use a calculator because I know these things. And 96,000 watts will power a lot. Okay, an absolute lot. The next thing I've got to mention, because time is running out, is that if you want 5% off of not just one, but as many 6000 XPs as you can buy or feel like buying, you could utilize my code, which is something. What is my code? Spring 6000 XP. Yeah, you can use Spring 6000 XP, and that will give you 5% off through April 30th. So time is running out. You basically have just a couple of days to do that. Sorry, this promotion's been live for a whole month, but if you're interested, don't let that pass, because that'll get you 85 bucks off each of these, and it stacks on top of anything else that Signature Solar is doing. So be sure to use my links and the 6000 Spring 6000 XP code to get that discount. So it's a huge deal and save you a good amount off of each of these inverters. So why is the 6000 XP right for DIYers? Well, if you're into this sort of thing, it gives you flexibility, gives you power, and it's not going to break the bank. It's not the highest, top of the line, but it's also not one of these cheap things that, is going to cause more problems than it's worth. So it's a great sweet spot for DIYers who want to get in there and get it done, but also not have to build out each and every single little piece and part of it. So it's easy to install, it's well documented, and the support is really great for these things through Signature Solar. Pretty much anytime you call them, there's someone who's going to immediately answer the phone and help you out. Also, like I said, myself, Adam, and Rodney, we're always there to help you guys. So make sure you hit that link below to get your 5% off and use Spring 6000 XP. The last thing I want to say is these guys have been out for a long time now. They're not going anywhere. They're still one of the most popular off-grid inverters on the market. And so you can trust that they actually do a good job and do what they say they're going to do. But these guys are tried and true, and they've become like the default go-to for off-grid solar enthusiasts. So I encourage you to pick one up, try it out. Also, the batteries, if you want to go with the wall mount batteries, or if you want to go with the The server rack batteries or do anything else, a DIY battery, go for it. But the inverter is the heart of your system, so you want to make sure you get that right. I'm Eric with East Texas Homestead, encouraging you to live faithfully and prepare thoroughly for good times or bad. Check out this video right here. This is going to be my full build playlist for this system. And then I'm also going to put a video right here on how I saved 95% by using this system. And I don't even use solar panels right now.